Good day, and welcome to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of INEOS Styrolution India Limited. We have with us today from the management of INEOS Styrolution India Limited, Mr. Sanjeev Vasudeva, Managing Director, Mr. Sanjeev Madan, Director Finance, Mr. Abhijat Sinha, Company Secretary and Head Legal India, and Ms. Amita Mistry, Litigation and Secretarial Officer. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sanjeev Madan. Thank you, and over to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have line for Mr. Sanjeev Madan reconnected. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Dear shareholders, investors, and analyst fraternity, we welcome you to this earning call. Your company, INEOS Styrolution India Limited, has declared its results for the year ended March 31st, 2021 on 19th May 2021. We will brief you about the major highlights of the performance. First, regarding quarterly performance, revenue net of GST from operations in current quarter is INR 63,655 lakh as compared to INR 35,900 lakh in January to March 20 and INR 48,483 lakhs as in previous quarter. Profit before tax in current quarter stands at INR 21,645 lakhs as compared to INR 889 lakhs in January to March 20 and INR 13,526 lakhs in previous quarter. Regarding year-to-date performance, revenue net of GST from operations stand at INR 163,148 lakhs in financial year 2021 as compared to INR 157,900 lakhs in previous year. Profit before tax and exceptional items in financial year 2021 stands at INR 37,607 lakhs as compared to INR 2,446 lakhs in previous year. However, after inclusion of exceptional items, loss before tax stands at INR 1,350 lakhs in financial year 2019-20. Now regarding quarterly segment performance, first specialties, profit before interest, tax and other allocable expenditure stands at INR 17,656 lakhs in current quarter as compared to INR 10,402 lakhs in previous quarter. And profit in financial year 2021 stands at INR 29,153 lakh as compared to INR 2,905 lakh in previous year, which excludes exceptional item of INR 1,525 lakh. Polystyrene profit before interest and tax and other unallocable expenditure is INR 1,330 lakhs in current quarter as compared to INR 3,348 lakhs in previous quarter. And profit in financial year 2021 stands at INR 9,414 lakh as compared to loss of INR 1,830 lakhs in previous year, which includes exceptional item of INR 2,270 lakh. During the quarter under review, the company operated all its operations at all locations at normal level. The second wave of COVID-19 has badly hit the country post-March 2021, with lockdowns, restrictions on movement imposed by state governments in the country due to the second wave of COVID-19. The business of the company may get affected to some extent. Impact of the same is unknown. Impact assessment of COVID-19, however, is a continuous process given the uncertainty associated with its nature and duration. The company continues to monitor changes in economic condition and is prepared to take measures to safeguard its business operations. The company has elected to exercise the option permitted under Section 115BAA of the Income Tax Act 1961 as introduced by the Taxation Law Amendment Ordinance 2019. Accordingly, the company has recognized provision for current tax for the year ended March 31st, 2021 and remeasured its deferred tax basis the rate prescribed in that said section. The full impact of this change has been recognized in the financial result for the quarter ended December 31st, 2020. So this is all about clarification and details about our financials. Now we can go forward for the queries or any clarifications which are further needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. A reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 3 per participant. Should you have a follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue. The first question is from the line of Sudhir Beda from Right Time Consultancy. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon and congratulations on exceptional set of numbers, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, my questions are, on the one hand, we are seeing the COVID impact and auto sales are down by 30-35% as per the commentary of all automakers. And on the other hand, raw material prices are going up. So how do you see your margin panning out in the current quarter as well as in the year ahead? And spread also.
Yeah, hi, this is Sanjeev Vasudeva.
How do you see your volume growth in the current quarter as well as in the for the year FY22 and spread and the margin?
Sure, I'll take your question. This is Sanjeev Vasudeva. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So surely we will see some impact on the volume as you all read what's happening in automotive, household, and general with the economy in India. Our company is not isolated from it. So we will see the impact to the extent the economy is down in all the segments. Yeah. So that effect will be there for sure. Yeah. In terms of margins, the raw material prices are still holding pretty well. Yeah. And we still see healthy margins for now. It is very difficult for us to speculate and predict the margins 6 months down the road. All I can say is as of now, the margins are healthy.
So any sustainable margin do you foresee in the current year?
I mean, what we have seen is very unprecedented margins for the chemical industry in general, not just for styrenics, yeah, and for other polymers. For the chemical industry in general, we have seen very high margins over the last 1 year or so. So some level of sustainability will be there. And most companies keep working on new products and applications to kind of do a mix-up, yeah. And we do the same. So we expect good margins to continue, but would it be to this high level is something which is very difficult for us to comment on.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Margin sustainable, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Weber Barjatia from HNI Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for providing the opportunity. Last quarter you said that there was some 500,000 ton of capacity of ABS that was coming in China. So has that come, or what is your estimate of when it is going to come in? And any other capacity expansion that you are foreseeing, any large capacity that is coming up for ABS which can significantly impact the demand capacity in India?
So the capacity in China, in fact, the announced capacity for the coming 2 to 3 years are even more than that, right? It's a tune of a couple of million tons, yeah. Now, how much of them actually happen is something to be seen, okay? We continuously monitor the progress on any capacity addition in China because at the end of the day, India is a net importer. So the good part for us is the demand is there in India, but additional capacity in China will surely impact. So that's something that we keep monitoring. And not all the announced capacities actually happen. Yeah, so that's something we have to keep in mind. So it's a wait and see game on the capacity going forward.
But anything new commissioning that you are estimating in next 3 to 6 months, or all of the capacities are beyond that?
No, nothing we are expecting that may impact India right away in the coming 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rushabh Sherdalal from Praveen Latilal, Share and Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations. Just one question on this second wave. So, in May, the country has seen a big second wave. So, what kind of impact has it had on sales and ultimately your margins? And one more question pertaining to your investor presentation on slide 9, where you say that INEOS Styrolution acts as an exclusive distributor for INEOS ABS plant in Ohio. So how much of sales is generated from this particular thing, and what kind of margins do we have in this transaction? Thanks.
Okay, to answer your first question, like I said earlier, we do expect impact on our volumes here. As you would understand, most of the sales of white goods, automotive, and in general, all kind of applications where plastics go, not just our plastics from ABS, but other plastics, right? Leaving aside packaging is still kind of holding up a bit, but most of the segments of plastics and other metals and all have got affected. My guess is any good as yours. At least we're talking about 30 to 50% demand erosion, yes, in the month of May. Let's keep our fingers crossed for June and we see how things shape up. So that's all I can comment on this right now. As far as your slide number 8 or 9 is concerned, we do not sell any of the INEOS ABS from the plant in Addison, Ohio. Those sales are predominantly done in Americas only. Yeah, so that does not affect us at all.
Okay. And one more question pertaining to, if I see your total income in March 2020, it was roughly 360 crores, and of which the cost of material was 275 crores. So your gross margin was pretty low during that time. So what led to this sudden upsurge in the gross margin, on the gross margin front? If you can help me explain that.
Yeah, so basically your gross margin is nothing but the difference between the cost of your raw material and the selling price of your finished goods, right? The key raw material for polystyrene is styrene, and one of the key materials in ABS is styrene, yeah, itself. So if you look at the prices of styrene, they have not increased to that extent as much as the prices of ABS or polystyrene have increased, yeah. And that's not just in India, that has happened across Asia Pacific and globally as well. Now, so that's the main reason for expansion in the margins for both our products.
But these sort of ABS prices are expected to sustain in the coming quarters as well? Do you?
Difficult, like I answered earlier, it's very difficult for us to speculate and predict. ABS prices are, at all-time highs. Yeah, nothing stays at high forever. Yeah, how long it will last is something that we cannot speculate. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Congratulations on fantastic set of numbers. Am I audible?
Yes, Rajesh. Thank you.
What was the capacity utilization in the last quarter, and at what capacity are we working now?
So we had a pretty high, we won't disclose the numbers, but we are at a high utilization rates last quarter. And needless to say, in the month of May, because of COVID, our utilization rates have reduced. Yeah.
What is the how much is the effect which is getting us?
Sorry?
And secondly, hello, am I audible?
I didn't catch your question. How much is what?
Madam, what is the capacity utilization we have dropped to?
Like I said, we do not.
Is it still working?
Our factories are partially working. So the utilizations are, of course, lower in line with the market demand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankur Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I see, we are having around 20% gross margin generally on an average for last few years. And this time there is last 2 quarters we have quite a big jump in the gross margin. So just wanted to understand, to make the margin a little steady, do we have any hedging policy? That is my first query. And second query is, if the cost is so less right now, and when we see that there is in future again the pricing may change, so should we not buy a lot of inventory and keep with us which may help in the coming quarters as well?
Let me answer the first question. Basically, the margins are something which are very difficult for us to predict, right? As you said that the gross margins over the last few years is 20%, now they are much higher, right? They are driven by what happens with all the commodities globally, correct? ABS, polystyrene, styrene, all these are globally traded commodity products as well, yeah? Along with other polymers, right? Like polypropylene, LDPE, benzene, etc., etc. So very difficult for us to say because there are so many factors which affect these margins. Yeah? So that's something that we really cannot comment as to how long it's going to last and all. Yeah. And what was your second question?
My second question was, considering as of now, the inventory cost is very less. So should we not add the inventory, and which may help in the near quarter?
We generally do not try to do trading of raw materials and take these speculative bets. Yeah, we try to and because it's very difficult to time market with these things. Yeah, you may get right once or twice as a trader, but every time it may not work. Yeah, so we try to balance our inventories to the ideal levels as to what's needed based on the production numbers and forecasts from our customers. And we generally would not try to do all the speculate buying. We have all seen what's happened with oil, right? Oil went into negative also 6 months or a year back, right? So at $20 or $5 or $2, people were saying that oil is at a great price to buy. Yeah? It went down negative. Yeah. So very difficult for us to predict these things. So best is to be steady and follow the right technicals in terms of running the business. Yeah?
Okay. So just to add here, so how much percentage of overall revenue would be of fixed, based on the contract, the periodical contract, maybe where rates will be fixed for 6 months or 1 year, something like that, or where it will be for each PO there is a different rate?
We do not disclose all these percentages, but we have a good balance. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Agam Shah from Raj Trading. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Congrats on good set of numbers. I had 2 questions. So on your polystyrene business part, so our counter competitor, let's say Southeast, as you know, in India has gone out of competition. So how's the scenario playing out there? So is the plant coming up again or?
So on LG side, to our best understanding is they have not restarted the plant yet. We do not know if they will be restarting the plant this year. We do not know that. So with them not being there, of course, our utilization rates and our competitors' utilization rates have improved. Yeah, and we did benefit from that.
And any such thing is happening on the EBS side, or any plants globally getting shut down, or maybe taking time to come up, or any thing on that side?
These plant shutdowns and startups keep happening, right, across the globe, yeah, at any given point of time, yeah. So I mean that's a continuous process, right? And China itself has more than 50 suppliers of ABS, yeah. So some of them do shut down, some of them don't. So that really doesn't affect, yeah. It's only when very, very large amount of capacity which comes on stream is when it affects the raw material prices, yeah. And that's something that we continue to monitor.
So, but do you see the price trend stabling here for next 3 to 6 months? Or
it's very difficult for us to speculate on going forward numbers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavesh Patel from Patel Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, and first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Sanjeev and your entire leadership team, I do want to congratulate on a great set of numbers, and I do hope and pray you and your family are safe in this crazy time. Coming to the question, with a duopoly play in India for it, especially ABS, are there any plans for increasing the scale of ABS, because the demand is going to go up? We are still importing part of the capacity. So are we looking at capacity expansion? And if yes, any strategic direction on that side, please?
Yeah, thank you, Bhavesh, for your kind comments, and hope that you and your family are also keeping safe and doing well. On the expansion side, as we know, India is a net importer of ABS, so the demand is there. As the economics of ABS and the margins improve, right, and companies become more profitable, yeah, us or anyone else will surely think of investments in the future, yeah. In our case, as and when we have any such plans, we will communicate it to the shareholders.
Sure. And again, I do understand, business situations do vary, and you and your leadership team does adapt to it. But knowing that, we are like literally 40% net importer of the overall India capacity, maybe it makes sense, and especially looking at the growth both in demand as well as economy, having gone through very bad phase. I mean, I think that would be interesting to know. But once again, I mean, best wishes and congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavesh.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Abhishek Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. First of all, congratulations on a great set of numbers. My question was as I understand that the key raw material for us is steel and the prominent product is ABS. So how sensitive is the spread to the movement in crude oil prices in general? That is, whether margins have a positive or negative correlation to the movement in crude oil prices.
So typically, styrene you would expect, because at the end everything is tied with crude oil and benzene, right? If those prices go up, styrene will go up, and logically you say styrene or ABS goes up, then polystyrene goes up, yeah. So normally that does happen, yeah, and so there is a positive correlation between all these raw materials.
So assuming say a 10% increase or decrease in the crude oil prices, how a margin gets impacted on account of that?
So that is the point. The question is how linear is the correlation, right, between the two? Is it one-on-one? Yeah, that need not necessarily be true. Yeah, so the positive correlation is there. Generally they would go up together, but would they go up at the same extent? Is something which is difficult for anyone to predict, because there are lots of factors which determine this. It depends on for that specific raw material or finished good, how much capacities are there, what's happening with the supply demand in one region versus the other, in one country versus the other. Are there some, import duties which countries have laid on each other, US, China, something that happens. So, I mean, there's a very dynamic situation. So it's not that straightforward, right? You can't just plot 5 raw materials and then draw a line and say this goes up, this will expand by so much. Not that simple. But we do monitor what happens with the raw materials and do our pricing accordingly. Yes. Thank you.
So we are saying that we have a situation wherein if the price goes up, the end product pricing would also go up, but at the same time our cost will also go up. On the other hand, if the price goes down, we'll have a decreased cost of production, but we might also have inventory losses, right?
Yes, that could very well happen, right? We have been in those kind of situations earlier because, like I said, directionally you are right. Most of these raw materials will go up and down together directionally, but it's not that straightforward. So those situations do arise once in a while. Yes, thank you.
But yeah, so it is good as well as bad. So just one thing, as a company, what do you think is the ideal level of crude prices, which would augur well for the company from a margins perspective?
We do not have any such crude specific price in mind, but generally I think crude, anything for the global economy and in general, my understanding, I'm not an expert here, would be $50 to $70 is a good number, right? For crude to stay, for crude companies to also make money, because at the end, when the whole economy kind of moves,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anindita Das from SBS Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Amitabh Sonthalia actually. So just some of my questions have been answered. I wanted to clarify from your presentation. You made there's a outlook line in the outlooks which I wanted to just understand. You just to quote the line, it says we expect the ABS and styrenics market to get long sometime this year. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I couldn't quite understand.
Long means that the demand will become lower, and as of now, short means the supply situation is very tight. Long means that the supply situation becomes much more open. The demand supply.
Okay, so basically, right now it's just there's a supply squeeze due to supply chain disruptions globally, correct?
That's part of it, and it's also it's been more of a seller's market rather than a buyer's market, right?
So you say by this you mean it'll normalize sometime this year, right? Basically.
We expect it because these kind of margins, how long they last is very difficult to predict. So we expect that it should get normalized sometime.
Yeah. So that's what I was just trying to understand very quickly. What are the factors that have led to such a squeeze, and global factors or local factors that has led to this mismatch, demand supply mismatch in the short run, which has benefited us in such strong margins?
So China has played a very big role here, right? China plays a very big role in what happened in the global economy and with materials and all. And the demand which kind of got ramped up in China from March, April last year, right? Because China COVID recovery was faster, right? They fell into COVID earlier, about 3 to 6 months earlier than some of the other countries, and they recovered faster, right? So I think that demand growth has really helped with the raw material prices, because the demand supply balance was in favor of the sellers. So we hope that the demand in China continues to grow, but nothing keeps growing forever, right? So China may again slow down a bit. Still, China will still grow. We're still an economy which will grow at 4 to 5%, right? And for the economy of that size, it's amazing numbers, but may not be a 10-12% kind of a number, which China had a very steep recovery. So that is a very, very big factor which affects the prices of all the raw materials.
Right. So basically, but this is a standard, I guess, commentary coming from a lot of companies, and that's what you said is, absolutely true that China. But what I'm still, what is, your sense from dealing with this, and China macro data, as we know, is all an enigma. There's very little macro information available on China, or like you can for country type information. It's just through these price imbalances and demand side commentary that we get to know that China has been so strong last 1 year. So what is the driving factor in China according to you which makes it so strong and sustainable in terms of we're not talking about a COVID recovery here, we're talking about a sort of almost like a boom phase, as if China is growing 10% a year plus for the next couple of years, and that's the kind of almost the message that we're getting from whether it's metals, whether it's your products. So, what's your sense? I mean, what's going on here, and what can?
I think traditionally China has relied a lot on the exports, right, to Europe and Americas and other being the manufacturing facility for the whole world. Right? And over the last few years, the government has also, again, I'm not an expert on China, but what I've seen is, they have also tried to balance their domestic consumption versus just being an export-oriented country. Yeah. So that that has also, and government has given lots of incentives. Yeah. In fact, during the COVID, I do know when the government was giving incentives for people, up to 30%, to go and buy new appliances. Yeah. So it's a different form of government than what we have in India. Yeah. And the kind of things we can do in terms to spur the economy is different than some of the other countries. So the government is very conscious about how they want to, motivate, people to go and spend. Yeah. So I think that balance they are trying to strike between, I think especially also after the U.S.-China trade war. Yeah. Over the last 1 year, they become more sensitive to, focusing more on domestic economy. So I'm not sure what percentage is ideal percentage for them. Between the both, but that's a change which we have observed, yeah, over the last decade versus what's happening in the recent few years, yeah.
Right. So, just quickly to wrap up, you had some delisting plans a year or two back, which was then later withdrawn. So, can you just throw some light on what is the rationale behind that, and about trying for delisting and then, of course, then rejecting the bids, and then is it something that can be revived in future? What are some thoughts on that, if you're able to share some?
Yeah, I would let Abhijat, our company secretary, take this question. Abhijat, you may want to comment on this.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I think, see, the delisting was promoter's decision at that point of time to attempt for delisting, and the price at which the bid came was not feasible for them. But we cannot comment on their ability to or willingness to go for another offer again. So we will not be able to comment on that. We are not aware, at least.
Sure. And any thoughts
Mr. Das?
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, but for any follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue, please?
Yeah, just quickly, just a quick one on any plans to return the supernormal cash that you generated to investors in form of a special dividend or buyback?
As and when we come up with those plans, we will keep you informed. We did declare a dividend, higher dividend than last few years. If there are further plans, you will hear it from us. Yeah? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shivan Sarvaiya from GHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. I had a couple of questions. So one is if you could just help me with the ABS prices in the quarter.
Well, these are all public domain information, right? You can, check the prices of ABS in the last 3 months. Generally, they have been around $2,300, if I'm correct. Yeah?
Okay. And these are at the current level also at the same prices?
I mean, at least last month the prices were around the current level. Yes.
Okay. And sir, is there a situation because of the current lockdown situation in India where the realizations in India are much lower than what is being quoted globally? Is there a situation of that sort?
No, not really. India follows more or less, the global prices, and it's not isolated from what happens with the pricing in other regions.
Okay. And sir, is there any raw material supply chain issues that we are seeing from the styrene point of view? Any supply chain issues?
not this quarter. We did see some disruptions in the supply chain last quarter. I'm not sure when was the Suez Canal tear, right? That did happen about a month back or so, yeah?
Correct.
But
Correct.
got sorted out. So, no, we don't expect any major supply chain issues.
Okay. Okay. And sir, there has been a reduction in the COVID cases in the country. And what is your a qualitative perspective would do, sir? What is your sense on how the revival is going to be once things start getting normalized? Just a qualitative thought process, just a color would suffice.
My personal take is I do not expect the same steep recovery and which we saw last time, because this time around people are trying to conserve cash. A lot of people have suffered because of the healthcare, lack of healthcare infrastructure, and they've been really left on themselves to defend themselves and their families. So I think people will conserve cash and be more prudent this time around.
Okay. Okay. And sir, any inventory gains that we had during this quarter?
Not Sanjeev. I'll let you take this one, but I don't think so. Sanjeev?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes, we have gained some inventory gain this quarter. It's maybe around 15-16 crore.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. That's it from me. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anuj Jain from Globe Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations on the superb set of numbers, and all of my questions have already been answered. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. Thanks, Anuj. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Vij from Astute Investment. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. My first question is on the import, and first on the polystyrene side. So, could you talk about the reasons why the import has not increased in India? It used to be 10%, as you had explained in earlier calls. But given the opportunity, given LG is not in India, there is no anti-dumping duty. So why hasn't import increased?
And the imports, the last quarter, the imports have increased in India in the last quarter specifically. Okay, both for ABS and for polystyrene.
I didn't know that. And last quarter, you mean March quarter or December quarter?
Jan, February, March.
Jan, February. Okay, it has increased. So, what will be the current ratio, sir, around polystyrene and ABS?
I mean, generally you have around 40%. Those 40% sometimes becomes 38%, sometimes become 45% imports, right? So in and around 40% is what the imports are, right? So when I say increase, a few percentage increase is there, right? And for polystyrene, typically, the imports are relatively lower. It's in the range of 15% or so, yeah.
Polystyrene is 15 now.
15.
Okay, it used to be 10, right?
Yes, so it's increased over the last 1 year. Yes.
Sure, sir. And on ABS import side, sir, you had explained that the import increases if, say, the China demand is not there, which thankfully last year at least the demand seems to be back. So, any rough numbers you have of what was China's demand pre-COVID, what it is now, just to understand how much is the growth?
I mean, it will be very difficult for me to answer this question. I'm not an expert in China, but we do see, that whenever China slows down, the Korean would ship material to India, yeah.
Yes,
and, so we have seen that. So we are seeing a bit more of that now versus 6 months back. So that's all I can comment.
Sure, sir. And the final question on, and this is also you have talked about the spreads part. When the spreads were low for us, you used to talk about $400 is a good number for the industry, the $400 kind of spread. So, sir, now obviously the spreads are higher, but do you think maybe the spreads will settle at, say, $500, $600 versus coming back all the way down to $200, $300?
Look, we cannot predict how and how fast the spreads are going to come down. All we can do is try to take our action, right, to keep the spreads as high as possible, right, by pricing in the market, by doing the product mix, by selling to the right customer, by commanding the right price and the value for our materials, etc., etc. Yeah. But spreads historically have kind of increased, to these kind of levels, which are pretty high levels, and to a relatively lower level in the past, and that eventually would happen. So difficult for us to comment on it, but we continue to work on trying to maintain healthier margins by doing product mix up and trying to hold the prices. Thank you.
I'm just trying to understand if the new norm, whenever it comes, obviously these kind of margins long term might not sustain, but if the new norm will be above the, say, last 10 years average spread, what is your view on that?
So, like I said, how long that lasts is something which is difficult for us to speculate. Yeah. So any kind of high spreads, and whether it's in our materials or whether it is in any other product, is difficult to predict. And these are cyclical businesses, and then we will have to just see how things shape up in the coming quarters.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Kapoor, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Sir, most of my questions have been answered. Just want to compare your December and March quarters. There is a sales growth of around 30% in this quarter. How much is due to volume rise and how much is due to the rise in prices? Number one. And number two, what's the approximate ABS prices internationally, and the prices in India, how do they compare with the landed price? Thank you.
So to answer your first question, we generally do not disclose our volume numbers. Yeah. And, but all I can say, because of high prices, revenue is the key driver. Yeah. Number one. And number two, the prices in India are pretty much aligned with what happens with the ABS prices globally, and they are around $2,300-$2,400.
And this is the maximum they have touched in the last couple of years?
That would be correct.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Paresh Shah from Noble Investments. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations for fantastic sets of numbers. I have one question about asset turnover. I can see from the balance sheet, in March 19, we had fixed assets worth 200 crores, which is now almost doubled. And when we had assets worth 200 crores, we were doing turnover of 2,000 crores. So asset turnover I could see is 10 times versus with current price hike, which is 1,600 crores is the turnover. If I remove or make it at least, equal basis March 19, asset turnover is hardly 4 times. So what was the reason of that 100% increase in fixed asset? That is the first question. And secondly, by when do you feel that you will be able to go to the asset turnover of 10 times, which used to be the past earlier trend? And as you rightly said that we are still importer for our products in India. Many people are still importing, but why our asset turnover is not going up?
Sanjeev, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So asset turnover, what you are looking at it. So if you remember, we have announced our capacity expansion in our compounding in Moxie, and which we came up approximately with the 120 crore investment in Moxie compounding last year, around December 19. So that's primarily related to that. And whatever the turnover is increasing, the chemical prices, as you are listening all the calls earlier and all the participants earlier. In our industry, the prices of our finished product is linked with the market delta margin or market APEC prices. So it will go up and down, and that changes our asset turnover ratio accordingly. Yeah. Thank you.
No, but sir, my question is, I think, still not answered. March 21, right now, we have highest price. March 19 prices were less, but still turnover was more. So that means output and production was more. Our sales in quantity terms was more. Why, as on today, it is half of what it was 2 years back?
So volume.
And what are your plans to increase that? Basically, what I'm trying to ask you is, what action you are taking to go back to the 10 times asset turnover ratio?
So as you know, whole world and India was under the COVID situation last year, 2020. Yeah. So in first quarter was obviously the sales, etc. was down. You have seen our results as well. So volume, overall volume is definitely has gone down. So we do not disclose what are the volume number, as Mr. Vasudeva has already mentioned. So what for future, what we are doing it strategically, we are, as Mr. Vasudeva has already explained. So we are working in the right direction to product mix and price mix, etc. We are looking at and giving the value to our customers. That's what Mr. Vasudeva has already explained. Sanjeev, you want to explain about the future growth from that perspective? What is asking?
So is it safe to assume that if normalization happens after COVID, again we will be going to asset turnover of 10 times which was in past? Because if COVID has impacted this, is it safe to assume 10 times?
So it depends on how the future volume growth can happen and how the prices will move on. So our revenue will change accordingly. So in our industry, the revenue and turnover volume is a bit different. So they probably that you need.
Okay, because I thought it would be easy, because as you said that our country is still net importer for our products, and I'm surprised that we have not yet reached 10 times asset turnover. Anyways, let's see moving forward. Thank you. Thank you for giving me.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sir, what is our capex requirement? Are you thinking of any capex this year?
Well, we keep doing our regular capex maintenance and all.
What is the figure which we intend to do this year?
We don't disclose those numbers, right? Exact capex numbers, not in these calls.
And what is our debt? Do we disclose that? What is our net debt as of now?
We are debt free as of now.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sufyan Lakdawala from Lalkar Securities. Please go ahead. Mr. Lakdawala, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to see how was the demand.
Sir, can you speak closer to the handset, please? Your voice is not audible.
Hello. Now you can hear me? Hello.
Yeah, it's a bit better, but still not very clear, but we can hear you.
How was the demand scenario in the Q4, and now how it is in Q1 for the client side? How much the demand is affected according to you for the second wave in Vietnam?
Sorry, Mr. Lakdawala, I really cannot hear you. I think your question is something to with demand and appliances in this quarter or something like that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, it is much better.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know that how was the demand scenario from your client base in Q4 and now in Q1 after the second wave, how much it is impacted, drop in the demand side?
So as I mentioned earlier, the demand in this quarter is affected in line with what you read in the papers with the Indian economy and the demand for automotive, appliances, and in general, right? All kind of consumer good equipment, and packaging materials. So obviously demand is much lower than earlier, in the range of 30 to 50%.
30 to 50%, you say?
Again, depends, right? Depending on what you read where. Yeah. If you look at the automotive data, the automotive is down by maybe 30%, depending on what the CM data has been published. When you read the appliances, some of them have closed their factories as of now. Yeah. So generally, you expect a much lower demand than last quarter.
So then you think then there can be a pent-up demand in Q2?
The demand should come back, maybe not as fast as what it did last year, but it should come back.
Oh, okay. Thank
you. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dipen Sheth from Crystal Investment. Please go ahead.
Hi, and thanks for the opportunity. Actually, I had a couple of questions which kind of have been asked earlier, but I think it's worth raising the issues again. One is that you are sitting on something like 200 crores net cash as we speak for what has clearly been a very, very fruitful year. And whether you're going to pay dividends, whether you're going to sit on this cash, whether you're going to reinvest it in the business, this is a very fundamental capital allocation decision. And while you may not have made up your mind by now, I can only urge you to make up your minds as soon as possible. And if there is any sense of what you're going to do with this money, it will matter a lot for your minority shareholders. So is there any sense, I mean, as a management, what would you want to do, Mr. Vasudeva? I understand that there is a 75% shareholder overseas, but as CEO, what's your view on this?
Well, like you said, we have not made up our minds. So very difficult for us to comment on it. And I cannot speak the mind of the 75% shareholders, right? So I'm not the right person to answer that question at this moment. Yeah. Thank you.
True, but I'm asking you for your opinion. Okay, so you can hold it back for now. But I can tell you that, the pressure to take a decision is only going to increase here on. It looks like a solid business at a solid point of time. The temptation to reinvest is high, but we can't understand and figure out the cyclicality here. Whether this year's profits have been very, very fortuitous or whether even half of these profits, if they are sustainable, then we are on to something really good. That's the sense. And that's the only way you can create value, if you reinvest in a business that is set on a different path from where it was for the last few years. If indeed that is the case, that's for you to judge. Okay, that's the first bit. The second bit is pertaining to the balance sheet observations that I have. And I can see not only close to 200 crores of net cash on the balance sheet, but also a more than significant bloat up in both current assets and current liabilities. So at a net level, maybe you might tell me it nets out. But how do you explain, creditors going up from 137 crores to 222 crores? That's like 85 crores jump in a year for roughly a similar top line, I dare say at a lower volume. Okay, even if I was to go by rupee value, that's not clearly understood. And even on the current asset side, inventories are actually comparable at 268.5 and 290 crores. But again, receivables have jumped up drastically from 172 to 306 crores. It looks like you're funding your receivables with higher liabilities to creditors. Who are these receivables from and who are the creditors who are willing to give you this kind of credit? And what is the underlying business dynamic here which has led to this change?
So first of all, you are seeing the absolute number of our receivable, which that's definitely is understandable from the financials. Yeah, but our DSO has not increased. In fact, it has stable for last couple of quarters. So we are not funding anybody from that perspective. Since you have seen the prices has gone up. So probably that has resulted in a larger number from that perspective. But DSO are very much under control. Yeah, definitely last year there was definitely of the March lockdown impact was there in the March 20 that quarter. Yeah, so but not in this quarter.
So what about the creditors bit?
Creditors also, that's what, again, you are looking for the absolute number. Yeah. So in line with the feedstock prices going up and down. So the prices of the creditors will go up and down accordingly. But our DPO is almost similar. In fact, is much better. Yeah, as compared to the last year same numbers. If we will look at it, in fact, much better than that.
I guess I'll have to live with that. And naturally, with a comparable top line in both FY20 and FY21, and prices being much higher right now, volumes have fallen, although you don't disclose volumes, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And you don't disclose volumes even in your annual report. There's no point waiting. Or do you?
I mean, no company or industry in India gives the volume into the annual report as per the MCA regulation. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijat Sinha for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for your interest in the company and attending this earnings call. We know due to time constraint, we have not been able to probably answer a few questions, from the investors who were in the queue. But we look forward to connecting with you during the next earnings call, which will happen probably in August. Yeah. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of INEOS Styrolution India Limited, that concludes this conference. We thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.